All right, we are live. Welcome everyone to The Talk. We've got another great show for you. I am Brian Green, your host tonight and an ambassador for the show. If you're tuning in live, let us know you're here in the chat. We'd love to hear where you're tuning in from. Drop a question or a comment. We want you to be part of the talk. This evening, I've got the privilege of introducing our special guest, Brian Ackerman of Aaudio Imports. And Brian will be exhibiting with us at the show SoCal in June. So, Brian, you actually have some unique The Talk credentials because last year, I think you were one of the only interviews with Marie Green, who
Yeah,
is a fellow ambassador, and more importantly, my lovely wife.
absolutely.
So I can't say this interview is going to go better than that one. We're just going to say it's going to be different.
hmm
So that should save me in case she's tuning in right now and going to come find me.
Good luck.
So yeah, I'd just like to give you a chance, Brian, to give
hmm
us just a quick introduction to who you are for our audience that may not know, and
hmm
yeah, just give us a brief introduction, and from there, we can get into kind of the more details of your company and some of the background and history.
Sure. Yeah. So anyway, I was born and raised on the East Coast, at upstate New York. Was in the military, in the Navy when I was 17. Studied to be a chef in the military. When I got out, I did that for a while, and then I went back to school, and I got a degree in electronics. And I started working. On computers and office equipment. I started my own business doing that. Moved to California when I was 28. Uh, Shortly after that, I started. I started like an audio dealership. I was always into audio since a young age, and even in the military, I was. We used to go to the Navy stores and buy all the electronics and cameras and stuff, and the boom boxes and the big huge Sansui receivers. Um, so anyway, in 1998, I started my first audio business as a dealership, and then a few years later, I started importing a brand called Ensemble, a Swiss brand, and and then from that, I kind of grew into other brands, and I brought in acapella speakers from Germany, Einstein Electronics from Germany as well, and a couple other European brands, and I grew from there. Since then, I moved on to a lot of other high-end brands. I've done well over 200 trade shows. I attend a Munich show every year. I did CES for many years, Rocky Mountain Audio Fest. I moved to Colorado for 15 years, and I did that show for the entirety of the show. Now I'm back in California again, and I built a new showroom out here. Been here about 5 years now again, and future plans might be another state. I'm not sure yet, but I'm always looking to reinvent myself and build new showrooms and bring in more great products from mainly European products. Also, we have our own cable line for like the last 25 years, which I do global distribution for. That's called Stage 3, and we have distributors in about 10 countries for that brand.
Wow, very nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got our first greeting here from Marie Green. She says, "Hello, Brian's."
Oh, okay. Is she from Texas?
No, she's here with me.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought I knew her. No worries.
Okay, so yeah, clearly you've been in the business for a long time, and one of the things that I've heard is, you're one of the friendliest guys in the business. That's kind of a reputation, and but my sources have asked to remain anonymous.
Yeah, I try to get along with everybody. I was in the service business for a long time, so you have to be nice, and when someone's got a problem, you have to be able to help them. And so yeah, no sense in not being nice. If you want people to be nice to you, you got to be nice to them, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, knowing that you've been in audio for such a long time, and we've kind of heard a little bit from what you've said that it was an early interest. So what would you say kind of originally inspired your interest in audio?
Well, you know, I've always been into music. I remember buying my first 45 record when I was, you know, 7 or 8 years old, and I think my father was mad at me once, and he took my record away, and I almost lost my mind, you know. And but no, really, when I got into the military, I think when I was 17, there was a lot of opportunities to to buy, the latest and greatest electronics. When you're out in the ocean for 6 months at a time, and then you pull into a port, first thing you want to do is go spend some money on, and I'd be in those naval stores, as duty free stores. Everything's tax free, and you know, all my friends had their wish lists, to, oh, get me this, get me that. So I was in there shopping, but I guess when I got out of the military, my brother was also into high end stuff. So we used to hang out at the local shops in New York, and I even worked at a couple of those places on the East Coast. I also lived in New England for a while, and I worked at a lot of the. I think there was one called Tweeter that I worked at, and
Yeah.
I used to upgrade my system every 3 months. Whenever Nakamichi or Luxman came out with a new receiver, man, I was on it. And so yeah, I didn't have the same system for more than 3 to 6 months, and I was upgrading. I think it was that constant upgrade path is what kind of led me here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because no matter how good your system is, you can always find ways to improve it, and it's like there's no end to where you can go. And I think that's what keeps autophiles, you know, really engaged in it. It just because you can constantly improve and make it better and keep getting re-inspired. Yeah.
Absolutely. We've got a quick hello from Texas from Joshua Miles, JWM Acoustics, saying hi. So
Hello.
welcome.
Any
So
questions or just hello?
no questions yet, just some
Uh,
greetings.
okay.
But I'm sure as we get into things, some might come.
Hmm.
So we've touched a little bit about kind of the journey that you took getting into the audio business. But are there any kind of more specific details regarding how you got into the importing and the sales side of the audio
Yeah.
business?
So that's a good story. I was at Lexus Park doing the CES show, and at the time I was importing Ensemble, which is that Swiss line. That was the first line I imported. But I was also I also owned a pair of acapella horn speakers, German speakers with this plasma tweeter, which was really unique. And the rep from the company, he came in my room and said he would like to offer me distribution for the U.S. market. And I was like, really? He knew that I owned a pair, and I guess he was just looking for someone to represent the line. And I literally about a week later, I was on a plane to Germany for my
Wow.
first trip to Germany, and I spent a week visiting the Acapella factory and the Einstein factory, and I on the plane I was I was communicating with the dealers, taking notes and setting up the dealer network on my way back. It happened real fast, and ever since then I've been I've been really into the importation. But that's how it originally started. Actually, I started with ensemble, but it really started with acapella and Einstein.
Yeah, it sounds like you kind
Yeah.
of got put on the fast track there.
Yeah. I mean, I went from selling little speakers and little, really high-end little electronic units from ensemble to these giant 1,000-pound speakers, with multi horns and, plasma tweeters, and, it was a big deal.
Must have been an exciting time though, right?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. I remember doing 6 rooms at CES one year, 6 different rooms. Yeah, with a lot of really great stuff, but yeah, I did at the Rocky Mountain Show one year. We brought out the big Trilon Excaliburs, and we had to bring out some room treatment for those. And I think I had about over 15,000 pounds worth of gear that I brought to that show. And after that show, I could barely walk. I mean, every bone in my body was achy. So I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to do that again. But yeah, I've been known to put on some, multi-million-dollar systems at shows, but I kind of toned it down a little bit since then.
Yeah, that's a lot to
Yeah,
manage.
yeah. It's nice to do that sometimes, but I really think that it's better to have a more modest system that over impresses, versus a big system like that people love it, but you have a very small audience, for that kind of, you know, for that kind of level.
Uh,
Yeah, but it's fun. We had the room was packed all day.
so we kind of touched on, um, you kind of officially started rolling with the audio business around 1998.
Hmm.
Has Aaudio Imports been around since then, or was that kind of a later evolution of the business?
It started out as artistic audio, and when I took on distribution, I changed it to Aaudio Imports. So it's basically artistic audio imports. I just took away the first part of it and I just made it Aaudio Imports.
See,
Yeah.
that's good to know because my first assumption was Aaudio was Ackerman Audio.
Yeah, I know. I know. It kind of sounds like that. But yeah, the first day is artistic, but I don't use the word anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess going off of that, we've got our first question in, which is
Okay.
from Scotty Lylander. He's wondering if you have or if you had previously a retail location.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, like when I started in '98, it was artistic audio, and it was in same area in Southern California. Yeah, and
Uh,
and after I guess it was about 5 years before no, maybe 4 years before I started, you know, Aaudio Imports. Yeah.
so one thing I kind of liked that people can check out on your current website is you've got your logo up there, And
Mm-hmm.
here's the, I'm just going to post up the site for everyone to be able to look at later on. But you've got, basically it's like a squared, but it's a with the exponent of a. And I
Mm-hmm.
just think it looks cool. Has that always kind of been your logo, even in the
Yeah.
earlier versions?
Yeah, I actually designed that logo way back in, I think, 2024 maybe, or I'm sorry, 2002. Uh, and I've always had that logo ever since. And actually, a professional web designer, he designed it for me by accident. He was building me a web. I've had a lot of different websites. This one's been around for a long time though, but I'm getting ready to refresh it. So I'm working on that right now. And probably within the next, hopefully 4 to 6 weeks, I'll have a whole new look. You know,
Okay,
it's
that's
gonna be,
exciting.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
gonna be real nice. Yeah, been working on it for a while. But uh, yeah, that logo has been with me since day one, just about.
that's
I
awesome.
mean,
Well, yeah.
when it was artistic audio, obviously it was a different logo, but now it's yeah, yeah.
Well, everyone can keep an eye out on that. The site's up on the screen and in the chat. It's Audioimports.com. So keep an eye, check it out next couple of weeks, and yeah, see that new design that's coming out. So I guess let's talk a little bit about maybe some more of your show history. So you mentioned you've done probably well over 200 shows that
Mm-hmm.
you've exhibited at, and worldwide. It hasn't been limited to the U.S.
Yeah, well, I attend the Munich show every year. Uh, I've been going there for probably 20 years almost, and I guess they're moving it um, to Venice next year,
Or
or
Vienna, I think.
Vienna. I'm sorry, Vienna. Yeah, they're moving it, but this year is the last year in Munich, and I'll be there. And I always go there to support my manufacturers, and obviously I go there to see what else is new and exciting that I might be interested in. Um, so yeah, it's great. I love it, and this year I'm bringing my girlfriend, so we'll see how that goes.
Hey,
she's
all
never been
right.
to she's never been to Germany, so but Munich's a beautiful city, uh, and the beer is amazing, and the show is great. You know, there's a lot to see. It's hard to see the whole thing, but aside of other U.S. shows, I did the Exponent show for the first 6 years. Um, you know, obviously I did Rocky Mountain the whole time. I did all the CES shows for many years until they stopped doing it. I did the San Francisco show. It's called the California Audio Show. I've done that quite a few times. I've done your show, obviously, since the beginning.
Yeah.
I even did it in Las Vegas when you had it there. And I think that's most of the shows I've done. Um, I used to do 4 or 5 shows a year. I'm kind of scaled it back a little bit. But yeah, I put a lot of time into planning for those, and I have, you know, the whole system here with me. I never really partner with other companies when I do a show. I have all the gear here, everything here, and I make sure it's performing the way I want it, and then I take the whole thing to the show. Um, where a lot of companies don't do that, they might say, okay, you bring this, I'll bring that. You know,
Hmm.
everybody brings their own, and then you hope that it all works out when you get it together. I don't do it that way. I have it all set here, and I know it's all, you know, going to sound the way I want it to, and then I bring the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and they do sound good. That's speaking from some, personal experience.
Thanks.
So,
Yep.
all of these shows, what's, it maybe other than the business aspect,
Hmm.
what do you have any other kind of inspirations to attend these shows also? I mean, definitely we know that you're there, exhibiting, but I think it sounds like you're kind of there for a lot of fun too.
Honestly, I mean, when I do the shows, I try to get set up as fast as I can and get the music going, and you let the system get warmed up. Uh, and I do a little tuning, and then I'm good. And then I go off and have my dinner and relax. I don't want to be there till 2 in the morning tuning and tweaking. I do
Yeah.
I do that here. So I already know what I need to do there.
Mm.
Um, so I don't. I mean, I feel like I'm there to do to do the show, but at the same time, I want to be fresh in the morning to talk to people and answer questions and play music all day. So I make sure I get my sleep and
Yeah.
relax after I'm done. But um, if there's a good restaurant around, I'll try to find it. You know, I usually don't want to hang around after the show's over. You know, either want to go relax or go out to dinner. you
Yeah,
know,
just
yeah,
recharge a little bit. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Get ready for the next day.
Yeah. So maybe we can fill in one story here. But I
Yeah.
know you shared about that, CES having 6 rooms set up and being really busy. Is
Hmm.
there any kind of maybe one really good audio show story that you might want to share?
Yeah, yeah. One year, this happened to me right before the show. I was living in Colorado, and I was unloading a truck with speakers, and the speaker slid my arm back and tore my tendon in my right arm.
Oh,
Yeah, three tendons actually. And when that happens, you have to get surgery right away because if
yeah.
if you don't if you don't fix it, then you can't fix it basically. So I went to the doctor and they said, "Yeah, we'll get you in." I had 7 hour surgery on my right arm where they had to reattach the tendons, to the bone. And it's funny because it didn't hurt when the tendons snapped, but after the surgery, I could barely move my arm. Just move it a little bit, and it was like super painful, right? Because you have to stretch it back out, and you have to go to physical therapy. So literally, the day after the surgery, I had to do the CES show. No kidding. And my arm was in a cast, and I couldn't move it. And I had to get my truck packed, get all that gear to the show. So I drove to Vegas through the mountains in the wintertime with a blizzard, probably. I don't remember about that. And I could only use my left arm. And I got to the show, and I had some guys helping me get the room, set up.
That's good.
And I did the whole show like that, and then came back. And I remember there was Peter Berninger from AV Showrooms. Uh, you know, he was he was going to give me like an award for showing up with a, with that basically the day after surgery and doing a show like that. So that was kind of a crazy story. Aside of that, I had a turntable manufacturer. I won't name the name. Shipped me the turntable for the show without the platter.
Oh,
I'm like, this is really great. I got a great turntable with no platter. And by the time it showed up at the show, they brought it to the show the day that the show was over.
oh boy.
That was pretty fun.
Well,
Um,
this took a little bit of an unexpected turn. These were all kind of struggle stories.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, aside of that, I've had companies, shipping companies drive their forklift through my speaker, many times actually. So I decided that's it. I'm never going to ship anything to a show again. I'm going to drive it there myself, unload it myself. So from that point on, for many years, that's what I've been doing. I, I don't I don't allow anybody to touch my stuff anymore because nobody wants to take responsibility. They just point the finger at someone else. Oh, we didn't do that. You need to check this company. They probably did it. And so nobody's going to pay for the damage. So yeah, that was another hard lesson learned. You
Oh,
know.
sure. Well, we've got some sympathies from the audience here, but Joshua Miles has a comment that it's always best to have your own system and know what needs to be done there. Make Makes life easy.
Hmm.
Uh, he also shared that at a Rocky Mountain Audio Fest, he similarly tore a tendon in his knee.
Oh no!
Yeah, that's
Ouch!
bad luck
Oh,
there.
oh, that's probably worse than the arm, I would imagine.
Well, let's try and get
Oh,
to some more positive things here and transition
yeah.
the talk to um, your role as a distributor and importer. So
Hmm.
you've essentially got a really global showcase of manufacturers that you are representing and work with. Um, I know you've told one story already where you were approached by that manufacturer, that brand.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, how generally do you come across the brands that you are distributing?
Well, I do a lot of research. Like sometimes I'll spend weeks, 10 hours a day, just researching, reading articles, researching, looking at magazines from other countries. Sometimes I find something that's interesting, but the Munich show is probably one of the better places to find things because not everybody in the world is there, but I would say most of the better stuff in the world is at that show. And if you really focus and you really concentrate, you can try to see most of that show, and you can find, you can sometimes you can find things that you didn't know about, uh, and you know, I probably found a good amount of my product lines there over the years. Uh, Although I do find a fair amount of stuff on my own just by researching. Follow. You got to go down the rabbit holes.
Okay.
You see something, you click on it, that takes you to another place, and then another place, and before you know it, after 10, 15 different searches, you find something unique, that you didn't know about.
Yeah, I
So
think
that's, yeah.
yeah,
And
maybe
so
we could
and
yeah.
sometimes they find me. Sometimes they contact me, and that happens quite often actually. But you can't carry everything, so you got to be really pick and choose what you really want.
Yeah, I think that gives us a
Yeah.
good opportunity right now to maybe highlight some of the brands or manufacturers that you feature.
Hmm.
Um, so, I mean, I've got a few here that maybe we could mention, like yeah, Ypsilon is one that we've seen recently. You had at the show last year. Audio Neck, Stage 3, Node, HiFi Tuning, Akita, and Exact. Are there any one of those particular ones you'd like to elaborate on a little bit?
Yeah, I can give you like a little bit on each one. So Ypsilon, I've been with for a long time, almost since the beginning of their company. I met them at the CES show one year, and at the time I was importing Einstein electronics. But I had a meeting with the people from Ypsilon after the show, and I fell in love with the product and the people, the most genuine people, and brilliant designers. Some of the most amazing products you'll ever hear. And I've been with them ever since, and still going strong, and super happy with that brand. Matter of fact, that's the only electronics brand that I currently have right now. I mean,
Oh, wow.
as far as amplifiers, and I just haven't really found anything else. I've had other brands, but at this point, I haven't found anything else that I want to complement them with. Eventually, I may, but right now it's just Ypsilon, and that's a Greek company. Their specialty is their hand wound transformers.
Okay.
They they make all their own transformers in house, and that's not easy to do. And the way they do it is very unique. They have these special custom made winding machines, and they design their own core materials to wind around, and they make uh, they make the most musical products. They're just incredible. Uh, the Audioneck speakers is a new line for me. It's a French company. They've been around a long time, and they have a very unique mid-range. It's called a dual pole. You've heard of dipole. This is a dual pole, and it's unique to this brand. I guess they have the exclusivity on that or patents. I'm not sure if they have patents, but nobody else is doing it that I know of. And this one driver can play from 400 hertz to 10,000 hertz. That's a
Oh,
huge
that,
range for a mid-range. It's like double the range that most mid-ranges can play. And that's a really unique thing. And they have three different levels. They even make a new line called Obi, which is open baffle, uh, which is really unique as well. And so I'm just, like I said, it's a new line for me, and I'm really excited about that. Let's see, the other one, Akita is a beautiful tone arm and cartridge company out of Japan. They've been around a long time. They were originally Fidelity Research, and later Mr. Akita, the guy that designed the cartridges and tone arms, branded it under his own name. And so they have a beautiful line of tone arms and cartridges, and they make a really good step-up transformer. Let's see. Node is also a new line. This is out of the UK. And this line they make a speaker called Hilixa. It's a transmission line, uh, single point driver design. And it's got like a spiral transmission line built into the back. It looks like a globe, sort of.
oh,
Um, it's a really unique product, and they put these incredible like Rolls Royce finishes on them. Uh, the finish work is incredible. This company is working on two new speaker models, a full range and another monitor. And the thing that I started bringing in already is they make these modules. They're called SS1, and it's like they call it an ecosystem because you can use it under electronics, speakers, cables, equipment racks. You can put them everywhere. And what they do is uh, they isolate your components, and they also have some type of filtering built in, sort of. It's like a EMI absorption materials built into the metal and into the little holders that come up to hold your cables. And we just got our first shipment in and tested it out, and I've never heard anything like it. It completely transformed the entire system. It took it to a whole nother level. The sound stage got huge, more focused, bass improved, everything improved to a huge level. I was really surprised how big effect it made. And so I'm really excited about this company. Um, And then obviously stage three, it's I'm partners with the owner and designer. We've been together for 25 years. He makes the most, incredible handmade cables. They're using silver and palladium conductors and a twisted ribbon with vacuum dielectric. Very unique. So all the air is taken out of the cable, um, and he makes his own housings, his own connectors out of epoxy resin molds, and he actually designs the housings and the and the connectors, and then has 3D print parts made, and then he takes the parts and makes a mold, and then he makes the part from the mold. So it's very, very unique, all handmade, and really incredible. Uh, with all stage three cables in a system, it's a new experience completely.
Yeah.
Um, and then the final one, Exact, I guess, that's a Polish company that I discovered. They started out making like upgrade boards for people that want to stream from their computers, music streaming from their computers, and they also designed their own operating system for music serving called JPlay. And I've been following the company for a while, and then they came out with a music server. And when they came out with that, I became more interested in distribution. So I spoke with them. I ended up securing distribution, and we're now importing their music servers, their network cables, and they're coming out with a network switch pretty soon. And we've already got some reviews, and that's going well as well. Very nice company. Their their music servers are fairly affordable for the high end compared to some of the ones out there. Like Audioneck, they have a music server that's I won't even tell you the price, but it's over 100,000. um, yeah, so I think that's the ones we were talking about. I have other lines as well, but those are probably some of my main lines right there.
Yeah, and I mean, again, yeah, we would just encourage everyone out there that, maybe in the couple coming weeks, check out the website. It's going to have a fresh coat of paint, you might say, redesigned, and you'll be able
Mm-hmm.
to check out all these great brands that Brian is offering. So let's see. Let me maybe talk a little bit more about um, your thought process, or kind of planning a little bit for designing the rooms that you're going to have at shows. Because I know last year at our show, the show in Southern California, there was a couple of things that as soon as people walked into your room, stood out to
Mm-hmm.
them. And so I know when they walked in there, one of the things that stood out was the cables. So the stage three cables, that really stood out to people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, other thing was kind of right in the center of the system, like, you know, center stage for everyone to notice was the Wilson Benesh. You had their
Yeah, they're IGX.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's
infrasonic generator, essentially their subwoofer, and
right.
people just kind of really got excited about seeing that thing. Some of them would walk in there and didn't even know what it was.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's a really nice piece. Yeah, that's it's unique because it's not like a typical subwoofer where you have a big woofer with that's super stiff with a big basket under it, a metal basket with a giant magnet. The way the IGX works is the cone itself only weighs like 15 grams. It's super featherweight, carbon fiber. It's a mixture of materials, but carbon, and it's independent. There's no basket, and it rides up and down like a center pole, and there's a magnet on the top and the bottom that push and pull it. So
Hmm.
it does what a it does something totally different than kind of a regular subwoofer does. It's fast. It's very fast. It can keep up with any speaker, even horn speakers. It can keep up with horns. We have people using them with avant-garde horns that are 110 dB, and it keeps up with them. Yeah, because it's so light, it can move super fast and recovers, super fast. So it's a great, yeah, it's a great addition to. It's not just about adding more bass to your system. It's more about what it does to the overall sound. It takes strain away from the main speaker. It lets the mid range of the main speaker sound more free, and it seems to open up the stage and give you more dimensionality. So yeah, it's really because and you don't even know it's there. Like if you turn it off, you can tell it's gone, and when you
Yeah.
turn it on, you can't hear it, but you know, but the sound is just more dimensional. So yeah, really nice piece. Also, there was one line that I wanted to mention too is HiFi tuning.
Uh-huh.
It's a German company that makes audio grade fuses. Now, when I first got into audio grade fuses, I was doing a line called IsoClean from Hong Kong. They were the first company to make audio grade fuses. Since then, obviously, there's been a lot of companies doing it, but Hi-Fi Tuning is making um, a fuse with a diamond in it, a real diamond, and they claim, yeah, they claim that tuning the fuse with a diamond, something about the way the diamond oscillates, whatever, or it changes the way the frequencies or whatever work. I can't really explain how, but I can tell you that they work and they work really well. And I've always liked the Hi-Fi Tuning Supreme fuse, the previous model, but the Diamond version takes it up to another level. So that's the new line that I'm doing as well. I just started importing those. Yeah. I don't know of anybody else that's putting a gemstone in the fuse, but they claim that they tested all different kinds of gemstones and they found that the diamond was by far the best. Go figure,
No,
right? The most expensive. But the good thing is that their fuses don't cost that much. They're pretty reasonable compared to what you see out there.
okay.
You know, yeah,
So I
yep,
think another thing that I kind of noticed about some of the setups was the kind of the seating positions that you had
yep.
laid out. So at least last year at the show, you dedicated a seat essentially for like the main listening position. So it wasn't
Hmm.
like a full row, but there was like a main sweet spot, I guess you could say, maybe people call it. And then you kind of branched off the seating from there. So, not a lot of people do that either.
Well, yeah. So it's funny when you don't really want to put seats outside of the speakers. Like I noticed in a lot of rooms they'll just put like rows of 10. And so they could get like 30 people sitting. But I don't like to do that because I want everybody to hear the sound in the way they should hear it, like if they were in their own home. So I generally don't use that many chairs. I probably only put 6 chairs down, and I keep them tightly within that sweet spot range. Um, and also that creates a lot of space around, so people can walk around and they can stand to the side, the back, whatever. But I never like to put chair way outside of the speaker's sweet spot. Because if you're listening at your house, you're not going to do that either. You're going to sit where you know what I mean. You
Yeah.
know, yeah. Plus, I'm not big on like putting banners all over the place and advertising. I want to create a comfortable uh, atmosphere, and I also bring some special lighting so I can, I think the lighting is important too, to create a nice atmosphere.
Yeah, last show, I think the theme was kind of some blue lighting, nice, calming. You get
Hmm.
in there and you can just sit and relax.
Yeah, I mean, I sometimes I have people come in and they don't leave. They stay there for hours, which is fine. I don't mind. I actually like to take requests too. I think that's important that you play people's music they want to hear, that they know. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
so yeah, I always bring my music server and I have Kobas playing so you can pick pretty much anything.
All right, so is that a little bit of a hint to what we might be able to look forward to coming, June 6th through 8th
Yeah.
at the show?
Yeah, I'll have the Audio Next speakers. I'll have the Evo 2 and the OB Mid, the two models I'm bringing. Um, and it'll be all Ypsilon Electronics, a Pink Fawn music server, stage 3 cables, and I'll have some really unique tuning things that I'm going to do to the system I think is really going to impress people, especially if I demo those from Node. That I mean, it's it's hard to explain how big a change these things make, but people hear this, they'll be think they'll be really impressed. And I have a really nice room on the second level. I think or with that one level where you have the bigger rooms.
Mhm.
I'm up. I'm not at the lowest level anymore. I'm at the next one up. Um, so yeah, I have a nice room, and it's a kind of a small ballroom, I guess you could call it.
So let's see, we've got a question in here, and let's see, a question in from Joshua Miles. So he's asking, are you running two chassis pink? So,
Oh no, just the one. I know what he's asking. Yeah, if you run two pink fawns together, it's it's a much better. It takes this music server to another level. But yeah, I'm just going to be running one. Um, but it's still going to be incredible.
yeah.
I try to keep the system modest. I don't want to go too crazy and put I mean, as it is with like like a Ypsilon integrated amp with silver transformers and the pink fawn and my silver Ypsilon DAC, my cables, the speakers. You're already at a couple 100,000. You know, and I know people bring out systems that are like million, 2 million. But I don't think it's necessary at a show to do that. Personally, I think I can get sound that rivals those megabuck systems for a lot less money. So I try to keep it within reason.
Yeah, that's good
You know.
news. Good news for people
Yeah.
that are interested. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think maybe the with the time that we have remaining, the last thing we'll kind of touch on is how people can kind of get their hands on some of these products. I know
Hmm.
that you list kind of a dealer network that your products are shown in.
Hmm.
Um, right now, I think people can search on your website they've kind of put in their zip code or their address and they're able to find out who's nearest to
Yeah.
them.
Or just call me or email me or text me, whatever. And you know ask me whatever you like. I can direct it to whoever carries it, whoever's showing it. If it's not near you, I don't know. Depends what it is. Sometimes like if you're interested in some cables, we can send them to you. To try. But for the most part, Yeah. So the zip code thing, sometimes it'll show, sometimes it won't, depending on if they have that product or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I just want to take this time and say thanks, Brian, and Aaudio Imports. We really appreciated you coming on to the talk and sharing about kind of who you are, what you do, and what you offer, and how people can get their hands on those products. And
Hmm.
if they come to the show, they can hear them firsthand and speak to Brian. And I just threw up our website here, theshownow.com. You can go there, find out all about our shows, get your tickets in early. So go ahead and take advantage of that. And we just want to show a hello from Emiko here. She says, hi, Brian and Brian. Hey, Emiko. And she has to say that you always have an incredible room, and she really can't wait for you to be there in June.
Yeah. Tell her I got some new exciting things this year. It's going to be really special. Yeah,
Yeah.
she might even cry this time when she listens.
Well, so okay, that's high expectations there already.
Yep.
Yeah, she's sending in some smiley faces. She's happy about that.
Yeah. Sounds
Well,
good.
thank you so much, Brian. And maybe the final word for the talk is I'm going to give a quick shout out because the T.H.E family recently had a birthday in house. So I'm going to say a shout out to Sophie because it was recently her birthday.
All right. Happy birthday.
Well, thanks again, Brian. I hope you have a good night. And thanks everyone for tuning in. And
Great.
we'll see,
Thank you.
yeah, see you next time. Bye.
Okay. Thank you.